Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome. My name is Gilke. I work for Ageas Group, of which Ageas Portugal is part and a very proud sponsor of this conference. A few years ago, a colleague friend shared a video with me and said this video had really changed his view on social inequality. You must watch it too, he said to me, because it made things so much more clear in my head and I could understand and see. The video was called the $100 Race. I don't know whether any of you have seen the video. Yes? No? So I'm not surprised because it's definitely not a video that was made for advertising purposes. It was made, I think, by an amateur, and you will see that the images are really poor. But that's not the most important about the video. The message is much more important. So today I take this opportunity to share the video with you, and I suggest we have a look at it.
Hey, line up! Line up! Everybody line up! We're about to race. Everybody line up. Shoulder to shoulder. Take off your backpacks. Basketball, line up. We're about to race. Hey, we are racing for a $100 bill. The winner of this race will take this. A $100 bill. Before I say go, I'm going to make a couple statements. If those statements apply to you, I want you to take 2 steps forward. If those statements don't apply to you, I want you to stay right where you're at. Take 2 steps forward if both of your parents are still married. Take 2 steps forward if you grew up with a father figure in the home. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a private education. Take 2 steps forward if you had access to a free tutor growing up. Take 2 steps forward if you've never had to worry about your cell phone being shut off. Take 2 steps forward if you've never had to help mom or dad with the bills. Take 2 steps forward if it wasn't because of your athletic ability, you don't have to pay for college. Take 2 steps forward if you never wondered where your next meal was going to come from. I want you guys up here in the front just to turn around and look. Every statement I've made has nothing to do with anything any of you have done. Has nothing to do with decisions you've made. Everything I have said has nothing to do with what you've done. We all know these people up here have a better opportunity to win this $100. Does that mean these people back here can't race? No. We would be foolish to not realize we've been given more opportunity. We don't want to recognize that we've been given a head start. But the reality is we have. Now, there's no excuse. They still got to run their race. You still got to run your race. But whoever wins this $100, I think it'd be extremely foolish of you not to utilize that and learn more about somebody else's story. Because the reality is, if this was a fair race and everybody was back on that line, I guarantee you some of these black dudes would smoke all of you. And it's only because you have this big of a head start that you're possible.
I still remember when I saw this video for the first time, that with every statement my heart skipped a beat, and I still have to admit that today, seeing this video on the screen for the first time, on this big screen, just makes my emotions rush through my veins. So what this colleague did not know, because we only met in a later stage of life in our professional careers, is that a lot of these statements were super relevant to me personally. My parents divorced when I was 10. My father died at the age of 40 after a life of alcohol abuse, and I was only 15. If it wasn't for my state-funded scholarship, I would never have made it into university. And I think I need to add the silver lining. I'm a happy taxpayer. I never complain about paying taxes. Maybe because of that experience. My academic studies, I wasn't very much surrounded by people who really encouraged me to study, apart from maybe a few exceptionally kind teachers. And even today, helping my mother paying the bills is part of my life. So I didn't need this video to understand and see. And I'm assuming that all of you, by the simple fact of being in this room and participating in the conference, you don't need a video either. But apparently, my colleague friend, who had had a very successful corporate career after having graduated from an Ivy League university, did need a video to understand and see that he had been given a head start, and that actually this had very little to do with talent and choices that he or other people had made. Today, social inequality is on the rise nearly everywhere, unfortunately. And what makes it even worse is that social inequality is also sexist. It hits disproportionately women. With less income and fewer assets, women make the largest proportion of the poorer households, and this proportion is on the rise. So no, life is not a fair race. And yes, some are given more or better opportunities than others. But we all have to run our race. But we also all have to look behind and see who is lagging. And I really count on people like you to make sure that people like my colleague friend who weren't aware are made aware, and that they can see and understand that very often social inequality has nothing to do with talent or with having given the opportunity and made the right choices in life. Thank you very much and enjoy this conference.